Really funny. We're chatting in studio. Margaret Smith is here. We'll be talking to her in a second. And about 3 seconds ago, I just went, oh, by the way, we're going to do Facebook Live. So if you have just joined us on Facebook Live as well, welcome along. Margaret Smith is here, and Margaret is a motivational speaker and also a life coach. But when we were chatting off air, Margaret was telling me that she celebrated a very good anniversary, 10-year anniversary. Tell us a little bit more. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike. It's nice to be here. A couple of weeks ago, I received a letter, and when I opened it, it actually told me that I was now a 10-year all-clear breast cancer survivor, and having contracted the disease 10 years ago, that was a huge celebration for me. Absolutely.
I'll bet, yeah. You'd want to party long and hard over that.
Absolutely.
And what that is it gives great encouragement to people who may be going through that right now.
Absolutely. I'm one of the people who actually got an early diagnosis, so my cancer was actually quite small, so I was fortunate enough to still have to go through a range of treatment, but like I say, there is always hope, and the treatments today are amazing, and I'm actually an invited advocate for our local breast screen Queensland, so I do a lot of work around helping women and working with them to get through that breast cancer journey.
And also there's this huge, I still feel a lack of awareness when a woman gets to a certain age. She needs to start getting preventative checkups. She needs to actually check to make sure that everything's okay, and if there's something that she's not sure about, go and see a doctor. Absolutely.
I still find that less than 50% of women in the high risk age group, which is 50 to 74, so less than 50% of women are actually being checked, and this is the lot in life that I've given myself in relation to working with breast cancer, Breast Screen Queensland, to actually move more of those women out, because, and as I say to women, it's not going to take it away. If you've got it small like I did, it's not going to take it away if you don't go and get checked. You must, it's something you must do. It's a free service, mammogram from 40. Please be like me, make that first mammogram the one that saves your life.
And I think there's almost this attitude, if you bury your head in the sand and pretend it's not happening, then it won't happen.
And like I say, the statistics tell us that just less than 50% of women are going in that high risk age group, 50 to 74. They're not going and having their mammograms. So please, I just urge you, like I say, don't let that first mammogram be the one where they say, look, I'm sorry, your treatment is going to go on for X amount of years, or I'm sorry. It affects so many people, Mike. It's early detection is the best prevention, and that's my story. That was my story, and that's the story that I spread to women all over the coast and all over Australia and around the world where I have Facebook friends.
Well, it's lovely to get some good news stories to start off our little chat. So you're a motivational speaker. How did all that come about? I mean, you didn't wake up one day and think, gosh, I might motivate people. How did it work?
As I was discussing with you before we went on air, I've actually all my life been a motivational speaker. I never really knew how to verbalise that. I just thought people liked what I said, but all through school I was the one that, the school would ask to speak on behalf of the school. I was always taken to places where I needed to speak. Through my working life, I've spoken in front of 1,000 people. They would just stand me up and say, can you talk about this particular thing in the banks I worked at? And so I've always done it, but never could verbalise what it was. And like I say, it was just something I did all my life. And then a few years ago, when I was working in a direct selling organisation, a customer actually said to me, you could talk about anything. And I said, yeah, well, I can. And they said, you know what, this is something that you should do, because not only am I a motivational speaker, but I'm actually an influential speaker, which is slightly different as well, which means I can influence people into making change, and that's a great thing for me. And so yeah, I've been doing it all my life. I never knew what to call it. Now I know what it's called, and this is what I'm doing.
And obviously, I mean, you mentioned standing up in front of 1,000 people. I've done that. I've stood up. I actually, my claim to fame was at the Brisbane Exhibition Speedway many years ago. I think we're talking about 1988. I went out there with a microphone and stood in front of 22,500 people, and that's quite motivating in itself and very scary. But to actually do that, to have enough confidence and enough courage that, what I'm saying will make a difference, people can relate to what I'm saying, that's a huge deal.
And that's exactly what it is. That's the word, courage. People need courage to step up and do anything. And some people are just born with it. Some people have that courage. Some people can talk. And if you have courage and you're not afraid to actually say something, and like you say, make it that it means something to people. And if you're passionate about what you do and it feels so comfortable inside you to do it, speaking to two people can often for some people be more daunting than 1,000. But once you can speak to people, doesn't matter how many people are in that room, you have no fear. You just go ahead and say what you need to say.
And what's interesting, I say this to people as well, it's more difficult to stand up in front of a room with your friends and family than it is a room full of strangers.
Yeah, you think because your family is an emotional tie to you, you actually, they look at you differently. You feel that they're looking at you differently. They're actually judging you differently because you're emotionally attached to them.
Sure.
Whereas, in fact, in a lot of cases, your family couldn't be more proud of what you do. But once again, that's just something that sits in the back of someone's head and they actually believe that. But the reality of it is, your family couldn't be more proud of what you do, especially when you're making a difference in other people's lives.
Sure. So we'll talk about, you're a busy lady, I have to say, sort of looking at your Facebook profile, there's all sorts of stuff going on because you do this life coaching as well. We'll talk about life coaching in just a few minutes from now. So there is a chance to actually see you speak. Apparently you're doing it. Is it a ladies group or something?
Yeah, I do what's called Girls' Night Only. And I
feel excluded now.
Please don't feel excluded. Yes, don't feel excluded. But no, I just have a niche. I was drawn towards a little niche, or a niche found me, where it's just talking to groups of women about women's issues, and they're particularly not things that guys would be interested in anyway. A lot of personal things going on there.
Sure.
So, women love to get together. They love to talk. It's a very interactive session. And I actually invite people to throw topics at me so that we can discuss what's important to them. So, yeah, I do them once a month. So I'm doing one tomorrow night, actually. It's it's very, very close to my heart. I really enjoy them, and standing up in front of people, that's where I belong.
Especially if you get a good reaction. And it's not, I always used to think when I was speaking, I've got to get a laugh with my opening line or whatever. It's engagement. It's actually getting them off the mobile phones, stopping texting while you're on. Then I'm a great people watcher. I look around the room and thankfully not many people do that, but that must be frustrating. If you're up there on a platform or you're on a stage somewhere and you look out and there's somebody not engaged with you, how do you respond to that? How do you cope with that? Apart from shouting at them.
Having been in direct selling for 16 years and senior management within companies, I'm actually quite confrontational when it comes to certain things, and this is what attracts a lot of people to what I do, So I'm actually one of those people that tells people to put their phones away. So
Good for you.
I actually say, look, for the fact that everybody else is paid to come along here tonight and the person next to you mightn't be interested in watching you text, for that reason, could you please turn your mobile phone off, put it to one side, let's spend a couple of hours just really engaging and everybody getting involved. So I have no problems, Mike, in asking people to put those phones away.
Do you know what? Just having met you for the first time today, I can thoroughly believe that. Margaret, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about life coaching, what it is, who would benefit from that, and how you got into that as well.
Have you been to Relove Oxley Antiques and Collectibles lately?
Our house burnt down last night. There was nothing I could do.
Just joined us, by the way, Margaret Smith is here. She's the one sitting opposite there, motivational speaker. She does all sorts of stuff, and I tell you what, I wouldn't argue with her. If I was sitting on my mobile phone at one of Margaret's events, I would very, very quickly put it away. I would imagine right now there's a lady called Rhonda from Chamber of Commerce, and she's probably a very, very happy lady because we played Barry, and last week she said to me, Mike, you made me wait too long. And I said it was worthwhile. But anyway, so Barry Manley, old man, if you've just joined us, welcome along. It is Mike Bennett doing the morning show here on Logan City's 101, and Margaret Smith is my guest. Welcome back, Margaret. You're still here. That's good.
I am still here.
Always good. So apart from the many things you do life coaching. What is that? I've never quite understood what a life coach is.
Okay, in life, people, they know that they want something different, and they keep looking at it and they keep thinking about it, but they never achieve it. And what a life coach is really like an accountability buddy. So,
I like that. That's
I stand kind of with my hand on your back. I help move you forward, and I'm that little voice in your head. So a life coach is there. They hold a space. So, for example, Mike, if you said you wanted to do something but you are finding it difficult, we started to work together. I leave the space open. I know that you can achieve it. I know that one day you will see it, and I just keep moving you forward slowly towards it. So, but really, I'm your accountability person, and that's what a life coach is. They move you forward. I'm only interested in the future. I'm not interested in what's happened in your past. In fact, I expect my clients to accept full and absolute responsibility for what has happened in their past.
Sure, yeah.
My role is only to move you into the future where you can make change, because you cannot change your past.
And it's really interesting. You talk about the voice in the head, and everybody's got it. And there's two normally. One is very positive, the other is not so much. And people listen to that too much, and they talk themselves out of things. And I know I've been guilty of it. So I don't know if I can do that. Well, why not until you try it? And you actually have this conversation with yourself. So you are the voice of reason and the voice of positivity, perhaps.
Absolutely. And like I say, the important thing is I hold that space for you, because I know that anybody can do anything they want in life. I know it because I've done it. I've come from many different circumstances where a lot of people might go, how on earth did you get out of there? How did you make that work? You know, I know that anyone can do everything and anything that they choose. They just need to want it as badly for themselves as I want it for them. Then I can work with you.
I think with a lot of people, it's state of mind as well. If they've had a few knockbacks and if they're perhaps not at the top of their game, they might find it hard. So I guess your other role as motivational speaker on a one-to-one basis might come in quite useful there as well.
Absolutely. I mean, there's lots of things that happen in people's lives, and especially today we seem to have more happening in our lives than ever we did before.
Sure.
So there are a lot of people out there that do need a hand. So, yeah, that's the role. I'm there. I'm the positive one. I know it can happen. I'll move you forward. I'm not interested in your past, but by crikey, if you work with me, I will help you to achieve those things in your life, that not only the things that you want, because everyone wants something. I will teach you how to believe that you desire, that your desire meets that belief. You need to believe in your subconscious, that will come to you.
Sure.
And I will help you work with that subconscious.
So how did you become a life coach? Because I'm guessing it's not something you would study at university or school. How did you become one? Is there a course that you can go on? How did it all happen?
Okay, once again, pretty much like the motivational speaking, people have always come to me and asked me for advice. You know, people in the workplace, you know, the boys would come and ask me questions about their mums or their girlfriends, or the mothers that ask me about their children. So I seem to have been that advice person. And once again, couldn't verbalise what it was. I just thought people liked me. So it wasn't until I was working in a direct selling organisation that the management group were given life coaches. So when I had my first life coaching call, I sat back after it was finished and thought, you know what? That's what I've been doing. All my life, I've been a life coach. I've helped other people because I care about people. That is my role. So fairly much the two of them came together almost simultaneously, my speaking role and my role as a life coach.
And you can see the obvious synergy in
Absolutely.
there, which you must have done as well. You must be frustrated, especially if you look on social media, and I've got a few friends that listen to this show. We talk about the ology life that we live in now. Everybody wakes up one morning and I know today I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. We call it having an ology. You must be frustrated when people call themselves life coaches or motivational speakers with no actual real life experience. We know one at 20 years of age who claimed to be a life coach. Get some life experience first before you can be a life coach. And I think that must be frustrating to people who are trying to be professionals in their own field.
It is, and I suppose it's like any business. You know, people can call themselves a mechanic but not really be a mechanic.
Exactly.
So in life, it's like anything. You need to go out and look for the people that you connect with, and a life coach really is someone that you connect with. And in my business, I say to people who are interested in working with me, let's have a catch-up, a 1 hour free, let's have coffee. I'll explain the way I work as a life coach. I'll talk to you about the expectation of you as my client. We'll talk about a couple of things you're interested in working through, and at the end of that 1 hour you will say to me, you know what, Margaret, you are the person I need. I'm connected with you, because you need to have a special connection with someone, because this is very personal.
There's got to be trust as well.
Oh, it's very personal too. I mean, people tell you a lot of things, a lot of personal things, so you need to have a real connection with that person. happens. So I give people an opportunity. Like I say, for those people who are out there doing the wrong thing or haven't had life experiences, I mean, and it's interesting that you say that about life because I have had a lot of life experiences. I've done a lot of different things in my life. I feel comfortable and confident to talk to people about almost anything. So, yeah, it comes from the experience as well, but it comes from the desire to help people. That's the first thing.
And that's a huge thing. And we had a right agreement. We thought, really, 20 years of age, okay, come back in 20 years, we might talk. Margaret, it's been fascinating chatting to you. And I think we were chatting off air. You said you'd like to come back in again and talk about more stuff. Yeah, it'd be absolutely great. So we can give a little mention without too much. People can see you tomorrow night. Is it in Helensvale?
Yeah, in Helensvale. If you're on my website, you can go on there.
Nice.
If I can mention that. My business is The Coaching Godmother. I'd love to see you. I'd love to be able to help you at any time. Please just contact me.
Yeah, that'd be terrific. Margaret, we will definitely have you in here again. And see, when I saw the thing that said The Coaching Godmother, I thought, all of a sudden we're talking mafia here because I'm thinking Godmother, Godfather, but it was great. And I can tell anybody right now who wants to meet Margaret, she's a very, very friendly lady. Don't let that title put you off whatsoever. Have a good one tomorrow night. And I'm sure that you're going to meet a lot of great ladies, as it sounds like you already do.
Yeah, I do. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. It's been a pleasure.
So there we are, and we will be talking once again to Margaret Smith in the months ahead here on Logan City's 101 FM.